How can you get involved in reducing food insecurity? Some of the things that you can do, and this is specifically to the kids, because this is your future. You can donate food to food pantries. That's always a popular one. You can help in the gardens. So as we develop more of these community gardens, get out there, learn about gardening. This is your future. Some others that you don't think about, buying local to support the local farmers. Right now we are in crisis because Dean, I think it's called Dean's Foods, just cut off a whole bunch of contracts with the dairy farmers, so there's a whole bunch of dairy farmers going out of business. It's a supply and demand thing, so drink milk. Bring that demand back. We're trying to help some of the farmers reinvent themselves rather than sell off their dairy cows, because the dairy cows are basically being slaughtered at this point. So we're trying to help some of these farmers reinvent themselves by creating cheese products, whatever, reinventing their purpose, because they're so used to just producing the milk, selling it to these third parties. Learn how to cook. Learn how to cook is a big one. We've lost this. And this is something I'm going to talk about in a little bit down in Guatemala. There are organizations that help kids throughout the summer. If you're in a school here, a public school here, you're used to kids who are on reduced meal plans where they get their meals free or for a reduced price. These programs continue in the summer, so if you know any kids who want to work in the summer, do some volunteer work, there's great opportunities. These programs, these kids are still going to Salvation Army and partners like that and getting these experiences. What we see with kids with food insecurity is they tend to miss school a lot, so they have to repeat grades, there's behavioral issues, and there's a lot of times developmental issues. So trying to curb some of this. So these kids in the summer, when they're getting these free meals somewhere, sometimes they need a little bit of enrichment. So anytime you can go out and do a little science project or whatever with them, that would be greatly appreciated. Okay, another big thing is just spread the word that food insecurity is here. We recently started a food pantry on campus, and one of the students said, well, if you can afford to go to college, you can afford to buy food. There's a misconception. So spreading the word that people really do have problems getting quality food. Buying fast food is not necessarily quality food. The cheap food is not necessarily quality food. Let me talk now about my experiences in Guatemala and the projects I have going. If you see my sweater here, this was made out of one of my lambs. I spun the wool, I knit it into this sweater, and that was many years ago. But this is one of the things that I was recruited to go down to Guatemala for, is up in the highlands of Guatemala. They are very distant from any towns. They raise sheep, and then I found out that they raise merino sheep, which is the finest wool. They raise the sheep for the meat, and they throw all the wool away. So I was recruited to go down. But also, when I went down last summer, we did some gardening projects, and the nonprofit that I'm working with is called Seeds of Help, and he's been working on this for 20 years, getting these people to relive, bring back the skills that they used to have, growing their own vegetables, growing all of this. Last summer we did successfully get some compost worms to survive, and we're 9,000 feet up, so that was one of the challenges, was getting compost worms that high up and able to survive. But they've done really beautiful stuff there. The little kids, when I was up there, were eating radishes the size of apples. So they're trying to change some of that around.